Like you have tons of good luck. You have something in spades, you have it excessively, I think, is what it means.
Does it sound loud?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit, I guess. I guess we're both getting better at talking like I always have it loud in case we're like that, but we've both gotten pretty good at talking really close to the microphone. So I probably shouldn't be chewing gum, but I also feel like it's a bonus episode, so anything goes. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to live dangerously.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I guess I should start. Welcome back to, well, I guess not Death by Southwest regular episodes, but Death by Southwest bonus episode, which is Sunday at 4 p.m. and we are recording this. Technically, this should have come out yesterday. So we're a little bit behind, but it's been a crazy week and we are doing the best we can.
Is that the goal, for it to come out on Saturday?
Goal is always Saturday. Depending on, sometimes we can't record it until Saturday morning. So then sometimes it doesn't happen until Sunday. But for anyone listening, we edit these episodes, obviously, or maybe not obviously, but we do, because it is so late and we'd like to get this bonus episode on Gary Triano Part 1 published before Gary Triano Part 2 comes out tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to really edit this. So I just want to put that in here. So anyone listening,
bear with us.
Yeah. And be mindful that this is pretty much going to be an unedited bonus episode. And there's not a lot. We don't have a ton. So, you wrote down, you had some great questions. I couldn't find a good handful of it. So we're going to go over the ones that we could find. And, so this is bonus episode on Gary Triano Part 1, which Part 1, I realized we never even got to the murder. Like it's an episode with no murder in it. Yeah. We got to,
what was kind of the end point?
It was he divorced Mary Cram, married Pam. Right. And then, I think we got through, they got divorced, they split up, they got divorced, and then it was like a bad year for him. And he was having a bad year, filed bankruptcy, etc. And then we started talking about Joseph Bonanno.
And I think you kind of made it right up to when we're back at his birthday,
yes.
Like when he went to play golf at the La Paloma.
Actually, the end of the episode, I remember it clearly because it was funny. Like I had written it and tried to make it very like cliffhangery. I wrote it, I write these out first. So I wrote it like, so the question on everyone's mind was did Gary make a good friend in Joseph Bonanno or a very dangerous enemy? And like, I was going to have it be like, mic drop. That's it.
What did I say? Or both?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know myself
You
too
said
well.
or both. And then I think I might have edited some of this out. So you said or both. And then I was like, yeah, or both. We talked for a few minutes. And then I kind of stayed it again. I'm like, so the question on everyone's mind, or an very dangerous enemy. Find out next time on Death by Southwest. And then you're like, or both.
That's my middle name. Yeah. Sweden.
It's funny. So, all right. So I did find, so there's a book written about this called A Socialite Scorned. I talk about it in one of the episodes, and I bought it and read it. And when I was looking up some of your questions today, I went back to the book. And this was not a question, but I thought this would be interesting context because we talk about how Gary and Pam met. Like she saw him at a social event or something. And then I think I just said he quickly divorced his wife, but there was no specific time.
Right.
Yeah. So in the book, which,
put the link on the
I
thing.
should put it. I don't know.
The link on the thing.
If you read the like foreword or letter from the author or whatever, author's note, she says that she got access to write this book. She got access to all of the police files, all of the everything. And then also, she says, my narrative is based on hundreds of hours of research, public documents, trial accounts, interviews, and news sources. The dialogue included herein came from email correspondence between Ron Young and Pamela Phillips, recordings, police interviews, trial proceedings, police affidavits, court documents, and news accounts. Every attempt has been made to present the story in the order that it occurred. However, a few events are presented out of chronological sequence for easier reading, which is true. That was my hardest thing with this episode, is that the timeline is so fucking crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts.
Right. Yeah. So
that's interesting. So that's the author's forward or whatever.
Yeah, she says
We should talk to her. Well, I mean, I guess the second part's coming out tomorrow, but still, that's cool.
Yeah, it could be a cool bonus episode. And, I'm going to go back to this, but she says many people facilitated this complex investigation, but Detective James Gamber assumed the lead, and he is the central character in this story. Oh, I thought she also said something about how he provided her with like everything. Like, I think.
Yeah. How did she get access?
Yeah. Oh, she said, aided in large part by the cooperation of the Pima County Sheriff's Department, I had access to literally a warehouse of evidence. The room was stacked from floor to ceiling with boxes of materials pertaining to the Triano investigation. Had graphic crime scene photographs, hundreds of hours of interviews with potential suspects, thousands of pages of police reports, et cetera, et cetera. So,
like, did she just say, I'm writing a book?
I guess.
I mean, that feels like we could just say, I'm doing
Totally.
a podcast.
Absolutely. Oh, we totally could. And especially for something that's, I'm not sure exactly when this book came out, but the case was done. It came out in, it says 2022. So
Quite recently.
So this was
originally
originally published in 2012.
Okay, so 2 decades later or something.
So I
Or
mean,
a decade and a half.
So it's called, I'll just say it here, A Socialite Scorned, The Murder of a Tucson High Roller, A Socialite Scorned by Carrie Drobin. Yeah. So it's available on Kindle, on Amazon. And so I got, I did get some information from this book, but something that I don't know, I kind of came across it when I was doing this bonus research, was this little excerpt that I wanted to read about Gary and Pam and how they kind of came to be, because it was pretty general in the episode, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this book, she says, this is directly from the book. And a few months later, in 1986, Gary ended his first marriage with a short phone call to his wife while she and their 2 children, Heather and Brian, vacationed in Europe. Although their connection crackled, Gary's message reverberated loud and clear. He had found a distraction and was totally smitten by Pam. They had everything in common, not just potent sexual passion, but a real love, ... of money. Gary divorced Mary quickly and without flair, generously deeding Mary his cemetery property, the Tucson Memorial Gardens, in their divorce settlement. Mary could not have realized at the time that the irony in Gary's gesture was that eventually she would bury his remains in that same Tucson Memorial Gardens.
What does that mean? He offered her the deed to
he owned a bunch of businesses around
Yeah.
Tucson. And so when they got divorced, that was one of the businesses that he gave her.
Oh.
So
he had a share or something in...
He owned it.
He owned Tucson Memorial, whatever.
Gardens, yeah, cemetery. He owned it outright, and he wrote it over to her, gave it to her. And I think, I know, because I emailed him, his son, Brian, now runs it. Because when I was initially researching this, I emailed them, and I emailed Brian to try and get a direct interview with him. I never heard back.
Where is Tucson Memorial Gardens?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Wait, I have one more question about something you said. And now I can't recall what it was. We'll come back to it.
Okay. So that was just something I thought would be a good little addition. You had said example of a Southern Belle wedding dress, which I will post. I have not actually posted, sometimes I'll do a swipe through on Instagram with like pictures of the murders and the crime scene and this and that. I haven't posted that yet for this one. I'll do that this week.
But let's we're talking about a Southern Belle wedding dress because that's what Pam wore when they got married on a boat or something?
Yeah, a yacht in San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, of course I've heard that before, Southern Belle or Southern Belle, just Southern Belle period, Southern Belle dress or wedding dress, I guess.
Right.
So, but I don't actually know what that looks like. To me, in my mind, it strikes as like prim and proper, but I don't even know what that means. Or it looks like.
I'm trying to see if I can find a definition. Dresses that remind people of the South, timeless, elegant. But basically what I'll post is a picture of Pam, in her wedding gown. But I thought I would just show you a picture. So that's her. That's her, and that's Gary, and that's their wedding. And so, the sleeves are very like puffed up.
Yeah, it looks like actually that's like oh no, it is puffed up. I was gonna say, is it a little jacket, but it's not. You're right.
Picture.
Yeah, no, it's puffed up, long sleeve, V-neck, but modest, lacy something.
Bodice.
Yeah, and then like poofy sleeves from the
shoulders.
Yeah, mid-arm up. A hat. Ooh, that feels Southern.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's not quite like a
Pearls.
Kentucky Derby hat, but it's like a Southerny hat.
Yeah.
Kind of Kentucky Derby-ish.
It feels like a fashion Southern fashion Kentucky Derby hat.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't even know what that means.
So, but we'll post that picture for people to see. So you also wrote, where did they honeymoon? I don't know, but in this book, A Socialite Scorned, there is in the chapter where she's talking about, the author's talking about their wedding and stuff. And then she doesn't talk about where they honeymooned, but she does talk about how like their life started. They had matching Jaguars, this and that. And then there's this excerpt that I thought I would read a little bit from about how, and I cut this out of part one, how Pam and Gary were friends with Donald Trump and Donald and Marla Trump. And Donald and Marla came to Tucson, and Gary took them to a U of A basketball game. And, I had initially played you a clip, I think, when we recorded, of like Pam talking about being friends with Trump and Marla.
That he was funny and da-di-da-di-da.
Yeah, she thought he was like the funniest person in the world. And
so like the year, give me a time frame. So they got married or they met in 86, something like that? Pam and...
They were married in... That was your next question. What year did they marry? 86.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to think about Trump during the 80s, I guess.
Yeah, it was. So I'd imagine over the next few years, that the first few years of their marriage were good years. And that's when they were friends. Gary was very wealthy, and that's when they were friends with the Trumps. So I don't know if they actually honeymooned at Trump's Mar-a-Lago place. I don't think so. But in the book, she says, Trump's mansion, situated between the ocean and Lake Worth, once rested on jungle-type undergrowth and swampy grounds before it evolved into the jewel of Palm Beach. The hurricane-resistant structure is anchored by concrete, blah, blah, blah. Perfectly landscaped lawn with sculptures of monkeys, parrots, and other assorted wildlife. And then she's describing a time when Pam and Gary were there with Trump and Marla.
And what's it called? Mar-a-Lago.
Mm-hmm. And it says, Pam, wrapped in a gauzy white sundress and delicate straw hat, stood barefoot in the 75-foot tower that overlooked the main house, reminiscent of a Mediterranean villa. Lake wind smacked her cheeks, water lapped against the Dorian stone embedded with seashells and fossils imported from Genoa, Italy?
I like it that way, Genoa.
That sounded ignorant. Genoa, Italy. Gary enlightened her. Oh, he told her that it was from Italy. Walls and arches.
Did he call it Genoa?
Walls and arches encased her. The day fell around her like a fine mist. This one's kind of good writer. It's perfect here, isn't it? Said Marla to Pam, joining her in the tower, looking like Pam's twin. She squeezed Pam's elbow affectionately. Her skin glistened in the afterglow of seaweed and mud treatments from the Trump spa. Blah, blah, blah. And it just like goes on to describe like this whole trip when they were there.
Decadent.
Very decadent.
There's a golf Mar-a-Lago, isn't it? Like also has like 18 holes of golf and
Yep.
And what's a 75-foot tower?
I don't know.
Like, what does that mean? Looking into the main house from the tower? That's interesting.
I guess. I've never seen pictures. We should look it up. I've never had any, I guess, curiosity about Mar-a-Lago.
Me neither.
the next question was, when were tribes allowed to run their own casinos? So apparently in 1988, the U.S. Congress passed the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act, which recognized gaming as a way to promote tribal economic development, self-sufficiency, and strong tribal government. This act stated that a state must permit Indians, I know that's not the proper term nowadays, but this is literally directly from this website, must permit Indians to run gaming on reservations if the state permits such gaming off reservation. It's a little bit confusing. Trying to kind of depict this is a little confusing.
That, to me, what I heard is they'll allow them to have it on the reservation if it's also allowed and thus governed not by the reservation individuals, but the greater state government. A tribe that wants to engage in Class 3 casino-style gaming must first sign a tribal state gaming compact with the state where the casino would be located, and requires a state to negotiate in good faith with the tribe seeking a compact. So some type of compact is needed. So in 1988, they passed this act, but it has a bunch of clauses in it, obviously. It says that by the early 1990s, several Arizona tribes had installed slot machines in their casinos, even though none of them had compacts. This compact agreeing to block such and such. So the governor of Arizona at the time, whose name was apparently Fife Symington, said reservations should not have casinos because Arizona did not allow such gambling off reservation. Tribes countered that Arizona did permit such gambling by allowing state lotteries, dog and horse racing, charity bingo games. Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of bingo. I mean, this was also, you're talking about the 80s, but still, I think about the horse races and there's a lot of bingo halls.
So in May of 92, the NIGC, which stands for something that I don't know.
National Institute of Gambling. I don't know if that's true, but
gaming.
Gaming,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
They issued rules clarifying that a tribe must have a compact before it can operate slot machines. After these rules were announced, the Arizona governor called on the U.S. attorney in Phoenix to shut down casinos with slot machines. The FBI raided 5 Indian casinos and seized their slot machines. Yeah, it was a whole thing. So there was this kind of backdrop of legal challenges by both sides that continued for more than a decade. And Governor Symington signed Arizona's first set of compacts with 16 tribes from 1992 to 1994. And then the governor's successor, Jane Hull, signed a compact with a 17th tribe in 1998. And that's about as far down this hole I went in the research because it gets
boring.
Kind of.
I'm all, what?
It gets a little bit, it just gets,
complicated.
There's a lot, complicated. There's a lot of language that I don't necessarily understand, the compacts, this and that and whatnot. But so, this is all pertinent because in the episode we had talked about that Gary was making like $1.8 million, something like that a year from these casinos and bingo halls and stuff that he helped these tribes start because they weren't legally allowed to on their own without, I'm assuming, a non-Native American person or somebody,
non-tribe member,
a non-tribe member. Yeah, exactly. So, and then once this passed, which it sounds like in 1988, there was the first effort to push, but it took some time. So it sounds like it was from 1992 to 1994, which is exactly 93 is when Gary filed bankruptcy. So,
well, that makes sense. Also, it's interesting because these tribes, reservations, the reservations, it's like a whole nother jurisdiction. Like when I go up to the White Mountains and you're driving through, I passed through a particular reservation. I can't recall which one. And it's like, well, you no longer have to watch out for the Arizona Patrol, Highway Patrol.
Yep. There's a great show. I feel like I told you to watch it.
Is it about the teenagers?
No. It's about, I'm trying to look it up right now. And it has Lou Diamond Phillips in it, maybe, I think. Reservation Dogs is the one you're thinking of with the teenagers.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
This one is,
I feel like I just saw an episode of it.
Dark Winds. That's what it's called. It's called Dark Winds. It's on AMC. And so one season is out. It's really good. You would really, really like it because it's about tribal police on Native American land, I believe in Nevada and Arizona. And a lot of it happens kind of around Flagstaff.
Oh, cool.
And there is a somewhat supernatural element to it. Not so much that it turned me off because I don't like, like I was just telling you, like Fringe and X-Files.
Whatever Jameson was saying last night about the
Last of Us.
Yeah.
Or The End of Us or something.
The Last of Us.
Yeah, The Last of Us. Yeah, the zombie stuff. So it's not nearly like that. It's more has to do with kind of tribal and Native American, like the kind of mysticism or spirituality and things like that. A little bit of maybe like magic-ish type things in there.
I like magic.
Not like a magician with a top hat, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. It's great. You would really like it. I think you would really like it.
It also makes me think of, Michael likes Yellowstone a lot.
It's very much like that, but better. To me. Sorry.
There's tribal situations and reservations.
Yep.
Also, is Lou Diamond Phillips in that? I started watching that where it takes the new one where it takes place in Vegas and they shoot someone in the first episode.
Poker Face?
Yes.
Love it. I watched all 4 episodes.
He's not in that.
No, that's the bodyguard guy. If you're thinking of him, that's Benjamin Bratt.
That's right. Thank you. Yes, I do mix them up, which is odd.
They do look similar. You're not wrong.
Benjamin Bratt was in
Bratt. He was married to, I think, Julia Roberts.
And wasn't he in like a CSI type show or an NYPD Blue type show?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I think he maybe was in NYPD Blue. I never watched that, but I think you're right. I know. There's
no rhyme or reason to that because that is, if you like CSI or you like cop things.
I like CSI, NCIS.
Oh my gosh, you've never watched
FBI.
NYPD Blue?
No. It's
what?
Original. I actually just started watching the other day Blue Bloods, but it's a little heartfelt for me. It's like a little like there's too much family story. Like I like Law and Order because it really keeps it to like the crime.
Shit.
What?
I was just going to say, NYPD Blue, where it does that dun dun.
No, that's Law and Order.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Where each episode's a different crime.
Yeah. Like Criminal Minds, I started rewatching.
Maybe I've never watched NYPD Blue. Wait, is Benjamin Bratt in Law and Order?
I don't think so.
Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah. That was a little sidebar there. So, okay, this was interesting. You had written down Mafia versus Mob, ?
I am interested in that.
Yeah. So I did 3 different searches and I found essentially 2 different results. The first one is a very literal explanation. A mob is a large crowd of people, especially one that is disorderly and intent on causing trouble. The Mafia is a type of organized crime syndicate whose primary activities are protecting racketeering, arbitrating disputes between criminals, and brokering and enforcing illegal agreements and transactions. Fine. I know that's not what we meant by mob versus mafia.
No.
Okay. The next 2 answers I found, I think, sound reasonable to me. Now, I did find them on Quora, or however you say that website where you can ask questions and other people answer.
Sure.
But this one person on that website said, the mafia traditionally refers to ethnically Sicilian organized crime syndicates that are powerful in Sicily and southern Italy. The term also was used to refer to Sicilian syndicates in the U.S. and became synonymous when referring to organized crime in America because the most powerful controlling crime syndicates were run by Sicilian immigrants who came in the 1940s and 50s.
Like Bonanno.
Mm-hmm.
He's a part of the mafia, not the mob.
Well, if he's Sicilian, I don't know.
Okay. Let me back up then.
Yeah.
Mafia is what you're talking about. Yes. Sicilian based.
And he must have... I just dropped my gum. He must have been. I take that back because it says these U.S. syndicates themselves began referring to themselves as La Cosa Nostra.
Well, there you go.
Which in English means this thing of ours, to differentiate themselves from the original clans and families in Sicily as early as the 30s. The mob, on the other hand, this is still the same person, is a slang term used to refer to organized crime in general, but usually means the most powerful groups, not street gangs or small operations. It is implied that when referring to the mob, one means a group like a mafia family or other syndicate with full control over a territory. Who it's referring to depends upon the context in which it's used.
And the location. Yeah, because I think about like I don't know what, the something mob. There can be mobs in different cities.
Right.
And I don't mean a mob of people. Yeah, the
right.
mob, the crime mob.
Right. So then this was another response. And this is along the same lines. But so another person said the mafia in the United States was comprised of mostly Sicilian and Southern Italian bloodlines. The mob was a more broad distinction, a combination of ethnic figures, primarily Italian and Jewish, that worked together. In other words, the mafia factions were also a part of the greater mob with other ethnic individuals. So, it's kind of like the mob is the overarching
umbrella,
term, the umbrella term, and then the mafia is these small groups, Sicilian, Northern Italy, Jewish, whatever, underneath it that collectively are a mob if they're working together. I think, if I'm understanding that correctly. And, these were people's opinions. I have no idea if they're correct or
Which
not.
Which I think with this
reasonable.
one, it's good to hear
what other people think.
Also, if the mob or mafia hears this, anyone from the mob or mafia, email us.
No, yeah. I guess that's true. I mean,
we're Sicilian and Jewish by heritage.
That's what I was going to say. Honestly, if anyone should... I guess we could ask Dad or Aunt Patty, because realistically, if anyone was going to know about this, I feel like half of our family is Sicilian and straight from Italy, and the other half is Jewish. So we should know this.
I don't know if this is a thing, but I'm going to say straight from Sicily.
Straight from Sicily. Yes.
Not straight from Italy, even though Sicily's part of Italy. But I feel like don't most people want to Sicilians want to distinguish themselves,
and I think non-Sicilians
vice versa
don't want to be confused with being Sicilian. Yeah, from what I understand, I've never been to Sicily. We still have family there that we've never met. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. If you're listening to this, any family of ours in Sicily, let us know, email us. We'd love to come visit.
That's right. Send us a ticket.
So you had written down more about the home. I called Tucson the home of gun shop owners and morticians. And honestly, that came from one article in the Tucson Weekly. The writer said, included that in his article when talking about Tucson. And
so if I look up Tucson and that,
nothing really comes up.
So it's not like a known thing, but no, it's cool.
And so, okay, so what do you...
Morticians and who?
Gun shop owners and morticians. So if you had to give your best... So basically, I couldn't find an actual answer.
Why is it called that?
Yeah. But if... I know what I would think, but what would your best guess be?
I don't know. There's a fair... I don't know a fair amount. I only live in Tucson, but one of my... places of work is right next to a gun shop. So yeah, guns are legal. You can do concealed carry.
Mm-hmm. There's lax. I don't want to say lax, but more than other states, there are
guns are
less stringent gun laws here. Yeah,
and so I guess that's would be my part of the gun part, and then morticians. I don't know. I really wish I had become a mortician.
I know.
And then maybe I'd still want to live in Tucson because there's a lot of older people. I don't know if it's actually more because the snowbirds are only here part of the year, but they tend to be older, elderly individuals.
A lot of people retire here in Tucson because it's mild
warm
weather. Yeah. Well, mild most of the year, I guess. That's what I would think too. Morticians, because, because this is a common place to retire, and there are a lot of elderly
and there's
people.
A lot of funeral homes. If you go downtown, there's a lot of, and
maybe that's why
there's a lot, which could be one in the same. One leads to the next,
sure.
But they're again. I don't know any other cities, but there's a fair amount of funeral homes.
Yeah, that's my best guess. So that's not really a
fact check. It's an opinion check.
There you go. So I have two more, and one of them is a little boring-ish to me, but I'm going to do it anyway. So you had written down what requirements must be met to file bankruptcy. And I'll be totally honest. There's a lot of information on this.
Give us a bullet.
I'm going to try. So in my initial search, this is the first thing that came up. I don't know if this is true because then when I went a little deeper, it seemed like it wasn't. But first thing that I found said, you must have sufficient income to make monthly debt payments outlined in your bankruptcy plan. Your unsecured debts, such as credit cards and medical bills, must be less than $419,275. And your secured debts, like mortgage and car payments, must be less than $1.2 million.
Damn it.
We're so fucking close.
Keep going.
Okay.
They're coming.
Should we just move into your bedroom or the other bedroom? Whatever bedroom?
Yes, the bedroom.
Yeah, I'm not even going to stop recording. Okay, sorry guys. We had a small venue change there because Mark and Michael just came back from the store.
Getting chips.
Yeah, getting chips and things at the store. So short venue change. So we were talking about bankruptcy. So I was saying you have to, your secured debts like mortgage and car payments have to be less than 1.2 million, which I have a lot of student debt. If your mortgage and car payments and stuff are more than 1.2 million.
Think about owning a lot of properties.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Also, the 419 whatever is very specific for the unsecured.
419,275. Super specific. And actually, the secured one is 1,257,850.
Very specific.
So I don't know if that's that. You know, when you search on Google and you don't even click on a website, but like a little paragraph comes up at the top. That's what came up. I don't know if that's true. Then I went a little bit deeper and it says to file for bankruptcy, you must meet a number of requirements that can vary based on the type of bankruptcy you're pursuing. For example, bankruptcy filers need to complete credit counseling and meet certain income guidelines before being able to move forward. There are two common types of individual bankruptcies, Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. Chapter 7 involves wiping out various unsecured debts like credit card bills within several months. Chapter 13 has you repay your debts over a 3 to 5 year period. So Michael and Mark just came home. So if you hear background noise, that's because that's them. And we're in the bedroom.
They're making
recording.
Noise.
Yeah, they're not quiet individuals right now, at least. But we're almost done with this, so we're just going to power through.
Should I go tell them to be quiet?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
So I put the website in here because I could give a little bit more details about bankruptcy, but I feel like, do people really want to know? Because if they're really doing it, they would. I will say
they won't rely on our content.
Exactly.
But it's also like I said, when you said this is going to be one of the lookup things, I said, well, it's good. Not that I actually need it right now, but like it is good to have like a baseline knowledge of something.
Yep.
Just in case most of us, I imagine, are adults.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Life happens.
Be inappropriate if they weren't.
Also, I the only thing I know about the effect, I'm sure there's multiple good, bad, or neutral effects, but when you file bankruptcy, it pretty much shits on your credit score.
It does, but here's the interesting thing. So my friend, I won't say her name on here in case she doesn't want me to and she's listening, but my friend in Atlanta filed for bankruptcy a couple of years ago. She really just had some student loan debt, but she had I think, high credit card debt. I want to say like $20,000 to $30,000 of credit card debt, maybe that
That's
she couldn't
a fair
pay.
amount, but it also doesn't seem like that much.
Right, that's what I think. But she wasn't making enough money to be able to cover that. So she met with the financial counselor. She ended up filing for bankruptcy. I think she had she owed money on her car and stuff. And this could be not totally accurate, but I do believe she filed for bankruptcy. It completely kind of wiped her credit. Like it was shit. But within 2 years, I think 2 years, honestly, she had built her credit back up. She had no debt. And she ended up being able to buy a townhome.
Is that what bankruptcy does? It basically removes your debt. And that's what I was thinking too. Let's say have a bunch of debt. I'm thinking about bankruptcy, but I'm worried that's going to affect my credit score terribly. Well, also, if I don't file bankruptcy
and you can't
I
make
can't
those
pay,
payments. Yeah,
same.
But I did, I can't remember the exact situation, but I know that at some point in the past few years, I looked into it, and there are a lot of requirements in terms of like, you have to make this much and your debt has to be you have to have an income to debt ratio of something. And, you know, there are requirements, but if you can meet with somebody and do it, like my credit's not great. It's kind of like if I don't have major credit card debt, but if I did, I can understand the appeal kind of, you know, I have major student loan debt. It doesn't necessarily always apply to student loans. I think there are like certain aspects. There's a lot of ins and outs of it.
Click the link.
Right. I'll put the link in the bonus episode notes. Okay. Last one. How do you qualify as a UNESCO City of Gastronomy? And in the episode, I had said that Tucson was the only one in the U.S. and there were 17 others in the world. And so you had written down, what are they?
So other cities.
Right.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, I'm going to answer, how do you qualify as a UNESCO City of Gastronomy? Apparently, you have to meet a number of criteria set by...
Just like bankruptcy.
That's right. Set by UNESCO. A well-developed gastronomy that is characteristic of the urban center and or region. A vibrant gastronomy community with numerous traditional restaurants and or chefs. Indigenous ingredients used in traditional cooking. Local know-how, traditional culinary practices and methods of cooking that have survived industrial technological advancement. Traditional food markets and a traditional food industry. Tradition of hosting gastronomic festivals, awards, and contests, respect for the environment and promotion of sustainable local products, and nurturing of public appreciation, promotion of nutrition in educational institutions, and inclusion of biodiversity conservation programs in cooking schools. Whoa, that was a lot.
I mean, I don't know, but yeah, at least the first four before my brain kind of went offline. It's like, yeah, Tucson, I see how that could meet that. Also, that's a lot of things.
It is.
But they're also kind of general things where you could like say, like, look at this, and this meets this.
It's subjective.
Yeah.
It's got to be subjective to whoever the people who work for UNESCO are.
Yeah, like the board
who
the decides.
Board. Exactly. So then I found, so basically in the episode, remember I had said, Tucson's the only one in the U.S. There are 17 others. Well, I was wrong. And that will teach me to not refer on Wikipedia, even for opening segments, like
really
fun
even
facts.
Elevation and stuff. You're now wary.
I'm a little wary. I actually think that I got that information from like another website with like 10 things you have to know about Tucson.
Well, listen to this.
And they may got it from Wikipedia.
Or they were published in 2016, that website.
That's true. That's true.
Or 2017.
Yeah, no, 2016.
Whatever, you
that's
know?
right. So, because since then, what I found, so I looked on Wikipedia first when I was researching this bonus, and Wikipedia told me there's 50 UNESCO cities of gastronomy, and that there are 2 in the U.S., both founded in 2015. Then I went to the UNESCO website and found out that's not true. The UNESCO website says there's 36 cities
worldwide,
globally. Yes, worldwide, and there are 2 now in the U.S. Tucson was in 2015, and then San Antonio was in 2017.
Texas.
Yes.
Wow, they're both southwestern cities.
Yeah, and we did a San Antonio one. Yeah,
did we?
Yeah, the Mariah Wilson bicyclist.
Oh, I thought that was Austin.
Yeah, we haven't done San Antonio, have we? No, I don't think we have. You're right. So, and then I did find this little blurb that is a nice overview. 12 countries have more than one designated city. China has 5 if Macau is included. Which we talked.
We been there?
We've
not been there, but been there in the realm of lookups.
Yes, when we did Vegas, we were talking about the biggest casinos or something like that. I think Macau has one. Brazil and Turkey both have 4 cities. Italy has 3 cities, and Australia, Colombia, Iran, Japan, Mexico, Spain, Thailand, and the U.S. all have 2.
Wow, there's some that I thought might like Italy is a destination for delicious foods, and it's not on there.
It is. There are
did I
Alba, Italy. Bergamo, Italy.
Did you say Italy?
Yeah, Italy. But it's not one of the ones. Italy has 3 cities.
Oh, okay, fine.
Brazil and Turkey both have 4.
Turkey, interesting.
Yeah. So Alba, Italy, Bergamo, Italy, and Parma, Italy. And then I won't even attempt to say the city in Turkey. But
what's it look like?
Afyon Karahishar? Karahishar. Yeah, that might be right. I don't know. Gaziantep, Hatay. So those are all in Turkey. Phuket, Thailand. I know a lot of these cities I've never heard of, to be honest.
I've never heard of
most of them. Yeah. Panama City, Panama. Norway's on there. Thought that was interesting.
Where's Norway?
Bergen, Norway. Macau, China. Mexico, Sweden, South Africa, Brazil, Ecuador, Iran. I mean, it runs,
Zali, Lebanon.
Yeah. South Korea, India.
Interesting.
Yeah, everywhere. So, but this is the list from the actual website. This other list with all the little flaggies and stuff, that's from Wikipedia, which now I'm not going to rely on. I don't believe it because it doesn't match up to this one, which is from, the UNESCO website. So that's it. That was the last one. That's all we got. I mean, you had a few other questions that I couldn't find, but we're not going to talk about those. And thanks.
We wish you all well.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. This was, like I said, we're going to publish this real quick and not edit it much. So thanks for listening and apologies for the uneditedness. We hope you tune in tomorrow to Gary Triano Part 2. And then we will be back next week with a brand new case for you. So happy Sunday, and we'll talk to you soon.
Good luck with the Sunday scaries.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.